then the sales same period last year, isn't it? All right, thank you very much once again. So let's quickly go over the assignment. So once again, kudos to all of you. As at the last time I checked, those that have submitted the assignment was around, I think, something around after 4, and about 40 people had gotten it right. And I was very impressed. I was like, no, Malik, you've hacked this thing. I mean, for these people to get this part of the DAX correctly, so it means you can proceed with what you had in mind. Okay, so I'm very sure that many of you would have even gotten it submitted before the deadline. So let's quickly take a look at the correction. Okay, then we'll proceed. So I'm going to open up my final sales table. The first thing I notice is that I don't have a calendar table. So I'm going to quickly do my calendar table, because remember I said you need it. It's important for your time intelligence functions. So I'm going to first create my calendar table. Now, because of time, I am going to create the table in a different manner. So it does basically the same thing. Okay, it does basically the same thing. Don't fret. Okay. It does basically the same thing. I just want to quickly create my calendar table so that I will get that out of the way quickly. Okay. So that I will get out of the way quickly. All right. So this is just a, let me zoom in case you want to see the code. Okay. So it's DAX. All right. I'm writing DAX as well. Okay. And what this is simply doing is, there's a DAX function here that says add columns. Okay, so the add columns takes in a table. I want to add column to a particular table. Which table? The calendar table. And I'm creating the calendar table using this function. Okay, so this might be too advanced for you to understand, but if you follow along, you should be able to understand it. So after giving the table function, which will create the table, so the columns I want to add to the tables are what? So the first thing I want to add is maybe day name. And the formula I'm going to use for day name is what? I'm going to use format, the date column, format, okay, beautiful. Dates in what format? DDDD. Okay. So if you're not very familiar with DAX, it might get confusing. Okay. So that's the reason why it's best to just go the normal route. All right. So we use this as a shortcut to just do everything at once instead of clicking new column, new column, new column, new column again and again. Okay. So we just use that as a shortcut. So the day name, the month name, then what again do we need? Month number. Then the quarter. So I'm going to use quarter. What will I use? Q and water, dates column. Then what again do I need? The day number, isn't it? Or the weekday. I think I should create that after creating months. Let's do weekday first. So weekday. So I'm going to use what? Weekday, dates, comma, and then finally I'm going to use what? Year. The function is year. And I'm done. So is there any other column I'm meant to get? Okay, so day of week instead of weekday, Abby. Alright, so day of. Alright. And this function or this formula would give me, so just watch what to happen to my data, what's it called, pane here. Okay, so I already added the table to it here, but the name will change. Immediately I press enter. Once I press enter, the name changes automatically to calendar table. When I expand, you see my columns automatically. If I go to my table view now, you can see my calendar table automatically. Do you see that? Okay, so that is how it is. Okay, so what I want to do now is to mark as date table, isn't it? I want to mark as date table. I'm going to click on mark as date table. Choose a column, dates, and I'll click save. So it has been marked as a date table. Then I'll click on month name, isn't it? Then I'll come up here to where I have sort by column. And then I'll say sort by what? Month number. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you sort before you mark as date table or if you mark as date table before you sort. Okay. So now we are done. So let's go ahead and, okay, day name as well. Yes. So click on day name, come to sort by column, and then sort by day of week. All right, good. So I'm going to click outside, and we are good. So finally, I have to create a link between my calendar table and my sales table. Do you see that? So click and drag dates and make sure I drop it on dates. Okay, make sure I drop it on dates. What is the essence of sorting? So if you don't sort it, your month will not be arranged in order. Instead of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, you'll be having it in alphabetical order. It will start with April. Since April is A, then August. Like that. Okay, which shouldn't be. All right. So now, let's start with creating our measures. So the first measure I want to create is what? Current total sales, isn't it? So I'm going to right click my table, new measure. I'll call this current total sales equals, let me zoom in. So current total sales equals what? Sum sales sales column from the final sales table. I'll select it, close my bracket, and press enter. Right? Then right click again, new measure, previous month total sales. So let's do that as well. So I'll call this So how do I get this? Using my calculate function. So calculate current total sales for the previous month. So I'll say previous month and give which column? The dates column on the calendar table. Not the one on the final sales table, the one on the calendar table. So I'll select that one, close my bracket the first time for the previous month, close my bracket the second time for the calculate. You see that? And then I'll press enter. That's true. So I'll right click final sales table again, new measure. So let's calculate the sales. So the same period last year. So I'll call this sales same period last year. Same period last year is equal to. I'll use calculate again and say what? Current total sales, comma, and I will use same period last year, and I'll give in my dates column from the calendar table. Close the bracket twice, press enter. And see, nobody's even asking questions or anything, because we already get it. That's very good. So finally, the sales year to date. New measure. Sales YTD is equal to calculate current total sales, comma, and then dates year to date. And I'll give my dates column. Close my bracket twice, press enter. Good. So those are the 4 measures I said we should create. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and now use it in the visual I said we should use it in. So where's the visual? I said we should use a table visual, isn't it? So go ahead and insert your table visual. Let me delete this one here. So insert your table visual. Let me spread it out like this. So the first thing is year. Drag year there. Then month's name. Good. Let me enlarge so that we can see it. All right. The way the calendar table was created, why couldn't the measures be created that way? Why couldn't all the measures at once? Okay, so the measures, you are given different formulas. Okay, you are given different formulas to create different measures. All right. So what you are doing for the table is that you are creating different columns on one table. So you are creating a table and then different columns on the table. So you cannot create measures that way. All right. You cannot create measures that way. Why does your username says Hey Guitar? Why? What's your student ID? (038). So why is your username saying Hey Guitar? I initially thought that was Miss Allison, but then I remembered the username is Hagital Consulting Limited. Mr. Hilary. So why is your username Hagital? Sorry about that. All right. So the year, the month name. So the next things to add is what? So I said add the current total sales. Beautiful, isn't it? Then go ahead and add previous month total sales. Isn't it? Then go ahead and add sales same period last year. Right? Then go ahead and add sales year to date. Okay. So since dates in the report started from June 2020 and ended in June 2021, should we just use that? If you use June 2020 to June 2021 using the calendar table will still create the entire year. It won't just start from June 2020. So even if you specify that your starting date is June 2020, if you just say, okay, February 2021, it will still start from January. Okay? So it has to be a complete year. All right? So, okay, so I have my sales year to date. I have my same period last year, my previous month total sales, and my current total sales. And you would have seen how this works, isn't it? You'd have seen that, okay, yes, your current total sales for the month is this for 2020 June. Then if you move to July, it shows the previous, then it shows the sales year to date, isn't it? Then if you move to the following year, June, it shows the previous, like that. Okay? So it only gave June up until June, nothing more. Really? That's surprising. It has to complete 1 year. Okay, so if it is June to June, I think that would work. As long as it completes 1 year, it has to complete a year. It has to complete a year. I'm sure of that. Okay, so now what I said I want to teach us. So this is the solution to the assignment. Okay, so we are still continuing with this data. Okay, so this is the solution to the assignment. Now, continuing with this data, we want to do what is it called? The third table is wrong. How is the third table wrong? Which third table is that? Mr. Uche, do you care to clarify? What do you mean by the third table is wrong or the third column? Can you expatiate? You can unmute yourself. Let us know what you're talking about. Chino Amagiro, the fourth column is not right. Can you unmute yourself? Let us know what you're talking about.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening. This is Chino. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, this is Chino. Yes.
Okay.
So, from the calculation I did, because it was only June. So when I did the same period last year, it didn't bring out any other apart from that June. Nothing else was available on that data. Only one period for last year.
Okay. So the reason why that happened is because your date table, your calendar table stopped in June. Okay. So if your calendar table extended up until December, you will see that for December, the same period last year, which is last year December, is this. But because it ended in June, it's just giving this value. So it will see no need to give the values for this one because you don't have this date on your calendar. So because you don't have July 2021 on your calendar, it will not bother to show you the same period last year, which was July 2020. Okay,
Yes.
so it's because your calendar ended on this particular date. That's why this is the only value you have on your own.
Very correct.
Hello, Malik.
Yes.
This is Uche.
Okay.
You called me earlier on. It's the same thing I was saying now because we use the period June 2020 to June 2021. So we only had for the last one. So it's not this one we are having. That's why I said the third table is wrong. So it was caused by the year I used. The year of the data or the data set.
Okay. So next time, okay, if your date starts from June 2020, just start from the beginning of that year, 2020. Okay. Then if your date ends in June, maybe another month in the following year, make sure you end that year. Okay. So don't do in between dates. All right. Don't do in between dates.
No problem. Yeah.
Very good. All right. So let's Chino, you have another question. Please let's wrap it up quickly so we can look at some other things. Yeah.
Now, if we increase the dates, as you said, where would the data come from? Since the data we had was given for a particular period, where would the data be coming from? Assuming we increased it, like
okay,
your
so
own
the data
now.
is not coming from anywhere. Like my own now, you'll see that it is only the dates that are available that I gave you the sales for. You are looking at the current total sales. Okay, it only stopped at June 2021 because there's no sales in July till December. It is when you came to same period last year that it shows you the sales for the period last year for those months.
Okay.
Mr. Malik.
Yes.
Let me just quickly mention, I was expecting to see my table just exactly like what you have here because I know that there is June for both years. But for mine, it didn't show anything under the same period last year, the values you have here. And I used from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2021, like I entered into the charts. And also for my same period last year, this was the values the formula I used is also in the chart. So I'm wondering where the issue came from.
So the issue is coming from the dates you used on the same period last year. If you look at the formula properly, you are using the date on the sales table instead of the dates from the calendar table.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Okay, so let's proceed. I think I can. Should I close this? Let me just. I want to show some other things. Okay, let me create a new page. Okay, let's leave this one on this page. Let's create a new page because you guys have really encouraged me, like, to do some extra things on DAX. Okay, so not too much, okay, but just to enhance the look of your visuals. Okay, so quickly let us go ahead and arrange this table this data very well. Okay, let's put our measures in one place so that it won't be scattered all through like this. Okay, so I'm going to close this table here, close this as well. Come over to your model view. Okay, on the navigation pane, click model view. All right, now here, where you have your final sales table, okay, in this place. Now, what you want to do is very simple, okay? Select your measures, current total sales, while pressing your control key, okay? Select second measure, which is previous month total sales. While still pressing your control key, select the remaining measures. Do you see that? The 4 measures are selected. Then come over to where you have display folder. Click the display folder and enter measures. Then press enter. So you see automatically that it places all of them inside a folder called measures. So if you close this folder up, it hides your measures. If you open the folder, it shows you your measures. Do you see that? So that's what we want. So I close the folder, I hide my measures. I open the folder, I can see my measures. Okay, so let's move on. Now, once I open this, you can see my measures folder now. If I open it up, I can see my measures. If I close it back, you see that. So if I want to create measure, what I will simply do is right click on that folder and click new measure. Okay, so that's what we want to do. Now, we have gotten sales for the previous month, sales for the same period last year. Okay, so for those of you that are into accounting or economics, you know that one good metric, okay, for measuring, say, business performance is the revenue month on month or year on year. Okay, so now we want to calculate it because we now have the current sales and the sales last month. We have the current sales and the sales last year. Okay, so using those information, we're now going to calculate the month-on-month percentage change and the year-on-year percentage change. So how do we go about it? Those two. I'm going to start with month-on-month percentage change. It's very simple. No stress about it. I'll right-click measures. I'll click new measures. So under new measures, I'm going to call my measure what? Month on month. I'll say revenue MOM, which is month on month, okay? And I'll put percentage sign so that I'll know that, okay, yes, that is it. I'm talking about the percentage change. So revenue month on month, and then put the percentage change. You see that? And I'll type equal to. So the formula is very simple. It's very simple. Open your bracket. Okay? And then you type current total sales, which is the measure you created for current total sales, minus the previous month total sales. Because you're looking at month on month. So it means if it is year on year you're looking at, you'll be doing current minus same period last year. Okay? So this is month on month, current minus the measure you created for previous month's total sales. Close your brackets. And then you do divided by previous month's total sales again. And that's all. Okay? Nothing more, nothing less. All right. This thing I just taught you, okay, there's like this whole process I just did, creating the current, the previous, and all of that. Okay, I could do it in just one single measure. Okay, but it will make my code bulky. All right, and if my code is bulky like that, I've noticed from time that beginners usually have difficulty understanding it. That's the reason why for your code I decided to break it down like that. And seeing the way I broke it down, and at least 40 people were able to assimilate and even replicate on a different data, and I think this is the best method to teach it. So this formula, you are good to go. Press enter. So once you press enter, you should save. Good. So you have your revenue month on month. Currently, that is what you have up here. Revenue month on month, isn't it? So go ahead and click this percentage sign up here. So once you click that percentage sign, because you want it to be formatted as a percentage, that is the reason why we're clicking this percentage sign. Okay? Then I'll right click measures again. Right click measures, click new measure. Okay? Then I'll rename this measure. What will I call it? Revenue year over year or year on year. Okay, so year over year, the percentage change. All right, so is equal to, and what will the formula be? Open my bracket, current total sales minus same period last year. I'll say same period last year. Okay, close my bracket, divided by I'm coming. So divided by same period last year. All right, and then I'll press enter. And that's all. Okay, so you can see it's not hard at all. All right, so now what I will do is now let us now see the effect of what we just created. Okay, let's see the effect of what we just created. So I'm going to create 4 card visuals. The first one will show current sales, current total sales. Another card visual will show, let me bring it up here, previous month total sales. Okay, and then another card visual will show the revenue month on month percentage change. So for your year on year as well, your year on year, make sure you click the percentage change. Once you are done with the formula, make sure you click this percentage sign. Okay. So now, currently, some of you were saying that you were having blank or you might have infinity showing on your reports. Let me tell you why. It's because the measure is calculating peculiar to 1 month, while current sales can show you the entire sales, okay, for the whole data, because you're just summing the column. All right, previous month is calculating peculiar to a particular month or range of months. Students are struggling with re-entering the class. What's happening? Please, let someone reshare the link, please. I think the last link that was sent now is It's working. Yeah. So let them use that link to join in. If they can't connect to they still cannot connect. It's the network. Okay, that one is not the class fault. They still cannot connect. It's the network. It's the network. Yes. We noticed Mrs. Allison sent a wrong link. Okay. I would apologize for that after the class on the platform. Right. So it's a good thing that all the classes are being recorded, and we just did the assignments correction. So if you did the assignments correctly, then you should not have any problem. Okay. So what we're just doing is looking at just few new calculations. All right. So back to this. So these visuals will show blank or infinity until you select a particular month for which you want to get the previous month total sales, or you select a particular month for which you want to get the revenue month-on-month percentage. So how do you do this? I need to insert a slicer and slice by both the year and the country, isn't it? So the year and the month name, rather. Year and month name. So let me select 2021 May. Yes, we've not taken attendance yet. We'll still take it tonight. So if I select May 2021 now, do you see that? Okay. So while these two visuals, okay, gives you your current total sales and your previous month total sales, this one will give you the percentage change. You see that, okay, compared to previous months, you made a 33% increase in sales. Do you see that? A 33% increase. Okay, let's check for April. Wow. In April, our sales dropped by minus 88.3%. Do you see that? So you can see how that enables you to gain more insights from your data. All these things you are saying, if you don't know that, I put it to you, you can't calculate it, you can't get this. Okay? So if you have your business and you use Power BI to transform the data and analyze, you can pull up metrics like this using your knowledge of DAX. And easily at every month, you can know if probably you are making increase or decrease. You can know the percentage change in order to measure effectively your business performance. You will know if it is a 1% increase or if it is a 50% increase. Easily. Okay? So finally, what I want to show you before we now go into visuals. So it means that probably our last class would be okay. I wanted to introduce us to the virtual internship project. Okay. Let's proceed. So what I want to show you finally using DAX, okay, before we move on, is coloring this thing. Coloring it. Okay. So I'm going to insert two more visuals now. So let's do for the year. Okay, just one visual for the what's it called? Same period last year. So let's do same period last year. All right. So sales same period last year, because we're calculating for April 2021. The sales for April 2020, there was no sales in April 2020 because the data started from 2020 June. Okay, but once I click on June, you see that it brings out a number for me. Do you see that? How can we compare 3 months using DAX? Okay, so how do you want to compare 3 months? if you can give me the formula, okay, because all this thing is mathematics. You can see divided by addition, subtraction. All right. So what do you want to compare for 3 months? Okay. So let me insert a new card visual. Yes, go ahead. You can unmute. A new card visual, and let me calculate. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Malik. Yes, good evening.
Yeah, so what I just wanted to get, if you can show us, is okay, so you're looking at a table and you want to see the 3 months on a table. Maybe you want to see the growth in percentage or in value. That's what I'm trying to ask, sir.
Okay, so if you use a table visual, you would see that. If it's a table visual you make use of, you'd see that. Let's say I make use of a table visual here now. Let me make use of this table visual. Make use of year, month, name. Revenue, month on month. So I need to deselect my slicer first. Go back to the table. So you see the revenue month on month quickly. Okay, so forget the what's it called, that of July. All right, because in June, what it's saying is that, okay, let me see, in June it's telling you that there was no revenue month on month. That's the meaning of this infinity here. Okay, so you can get this, forget this, because there was no previous month in June. All right, now for July, you made a 123% increase in your sales from June. Then in August, there was a drop. Then in September, there was an increase again. Then in October, an increase. In November, a drop. 32% drop for that matter. Okay? Here it says minus 100% drop, but there was no sales for July 2021. It stopped in June 2021, isn't it? So you need to be careful with these things. Okay? That's why it's best to make use of your, what's it called? Your slicers, so that you can select the particular month you want to see. Okay, so good. Now, moving on. So I said I wanted to show you something. All right. How to compare quarterly performance. Yes. Okay. So, let me quickly use this to show us. Okay, now this one is, now remember when you wanted to compare month on month, you were calculating current sales minus previous month total sales. If you want to compare quarter on quarter, what it means that you will do is that you will calculate current sales minus previous. It will not be previous quarter. So it means that you need to calculate the previous quarter total sales. Okay, there's a formula like that. Let me type it out here and show you. Let me see if I can type it in here. Do you see this? Do you see this formula? Previous quarter. So instead of using previous month, you use previous quarter. Okay. So you can do for previous quarter as well. If you want to even do for previous day, you can do for previous day as well. Okay, so it's possible. So what do I want to show you? You've carried my mind away. I want to show you. Okay. So yes, I wanted to show you conditional formatting. I wanted to show you conditional formatting. Is there any model that can be used to determine the reason for changes in a given data set? Model that can be used to determine reason for changes. I don't think I get that question very well. Probably if you rephrase. So I want to show you conditional formatting now. The way this is negative, it would be nice to have it show color red, isn't it? If it is positive, it would be nice to have it show color green, right? So click on the particular chart that you want to color. Come over to format your visual. Okay? Then come to call out value. Now, where you have color, you see this icon, conditional formatting is what you are going to make use of. But you need to create different measures, okay, to format different visuals. So I'm going to create a new measure for that. So let's use conditional formatting for our month on month. Okay, let's use conditional formatting for our month on month. Then you go ahead and use conditional formatting for your year on year. Okay, by yourself. Is a take-home assignment you are not submitting. All right. So I'm going to do for month on month. Now I'll right-click measures, new measure, and I'll call it month on month color. I'll just say MOM color. Or I'll say color MOM equals, and I will use my if function. If, so you can see the reason why it was necessary I taught you the if in the beginning. That was last class or 2 classes ago. So if what? Now I want to give a condition that if it is negative, okay, if it is negative, it should be red, else green, isn't it? Now, how do I know that a number is negative? A number that is below 0 is negative, isn't it? Now, which number am I looking for that if it's below 0, then you should paint it red? The number I'm simply looking for is the difference between the current sales and the previous month total sales. So meaning if I do this month's sales minus last month's sales, if it is negative, then this month on month should be red. Simply, okay? But if you remember, we've actually calculated this month's sales minus last month's sales in a particular measure, which is the month on month. So I'll simply use my month on month measure here. Okay? Or probably I should not even teach you using probably I should not teach you using DAX, because this method I taught you is much more straightforward than the method that I'm used to. Let me see. If I can get it using the normal method, then we'll use that rather than using DAX. So I'll come to conditional formatting. So click on the measure, come to conditional formatting. Click on it. Then format style, I will say rules. Okay? What field should we base this on? The same field. Now, the rule is that if the value is greater than or equal to, change this minimum to 0. And it is less than, now, I don't need this and. Huh? I'm not used to this and. I'm coming. This and should not be there. And there's no greater than again. We should have just put greater than. I can't have greater than or equal to, then less than or equal to. is one of the issues we have. I don't want an and. I don't need an and. It's using if and. I don't need if and. I don't need if and. Okay. So this cannot work. So let's go back to our measure. Okay. So I'm going to right click, create new measure. Comment. So right click, create new measure, and then say color month on month. So color month on month equals, and I'll use my if function. So if the revenue month on month is less than 0, the result to return, after putting comma, the result to return is what? Tell it to return red, comma. So if it's not less than 0, what should it return? To return green. I'll close my brackets. This is the simple function that will color that, what's it called? That's visual. Simple function that will color that visual. So watch what will happen. Press enter. And it will create the measure for you, color month on month. Now click on the visual that you want to use it on, and come to where you have your format, your visual, call out value, your conditional formatting. Click this. Now your format style will change to field value. Click field value. Then it will ask you, what field should we base this on? You click color month on month. You locate it, color month on month, and you click OK. You see automatically how it changes to red. So what happens when we have a positive change? Let's see. Oh my God, beautiful. You see that it changes to green. You see that for April, negative, you see that it is red. For March, negative, you see that it is red. For February, negative, you see that it's red. For January, positive, you see that it's green. And with that, have a beautiful dashboard ready to go. Or you have a beautiful metric ready to use on your dashboard. Okay. So while you did, okay, if revenue month on month is less than 0 for this one, it means if you want to do for your revenue year on year, you will do what? If revenue year on year is less than 0, then red. Else, it should be green. Okay? And that's it. Straightforward DAX measures, but very powerful. Very powerful. All right. So finally, we have this. So I'm not going to color the revenue year on year. I'm going to leave it uncolored. Actually, I'm not going to color it. I'm going to leave it uncolored. Okay. Now let us now move on to what's it called? Visuals. Let us now move on to visuals. Let's move on to visuals. Okay. So you might want to jot some things down for your time intelligence function. So I think I already explained the time intelligence function in the last class already. Okay. So previous month we return the dates of the previous month. Dates year to date we return all the dates from the beginning of the year till the current date. Same period last year we return the dates of the same period that you are currently in from the last year. All right. So let us look at visuals now. Finally, let us look at visuals now. So now study your visuals properly. Let me explain these visuals very well for you. Okay, so that you will not go ahead and use some funny visuals that are not necessary. Now, the most popular visuals you would make use of are the ones I'm going to highlight now. Now, your stacked bar chart, which is the first one you have here. Your stacked bar chart is the first one you have here. Okay, let me select it. Now, you use your stacked bar chart when you want to compare two variables, one categorical variable and one numeric variable. Or you can say one qualitative and one quantitative. Okay, so for instance, now you know your qualitative variables. You can see that everything is aligned, everything is intertwined, everything is they are joined together. So if you do not remember your lectures from the first or second class that we had when I introduced you to data analytics and I explained data, quantitative data, qualitative data, you begin to have issues here. So you can see. Okay, so for your stacked bar chart, now when you click a stacked bar chart on your visualizations pane here, okay, these are called wells, the visual wells. Y-axis, x-axis, legend, small multiples, tooltips. Okay, the ones you use mostly is the x-axis and y-axis. Then once in a while legend, then at times tooltips. Okay, but for your level, I hardly think you would make use of it. Okay, then very rarely small multiples. Okay, but the main thing, cocoa, is y and x axis. Now look at this bar chart, stacked bar chart. Okay, one of the most popular. You use your categorical and your quantitative. Okay, now your categorical variable, or also qualitative variable, is going to be on which axis? It's going to be on the axis where the bar is starting. Now, currently, where is the bar starting? The bar is starting from here, isn't it? So this is the y-axis. So it means that my categorical variable will be on the y-axis. Okay, so where your bar is coming from, the axis your bar is coming from, is where your categorical variable will be. So this is where my bar is coming from. It's coming from the y-axis, down like this. So my categorical variable will be on the y-axis. So for those of you that don't know, like this, let me draw. So this is y-axis, while like this is x-axis. Okay, so this is x-axis, and this is y-axis. So straight down is y-axis, like this is x-axis. Okay, so where is my bar coming from? My bar is coming from the y-axis. So it means my categorical variable will be on the y-axis. And then my quantitative variable will be on the x-axis. So if they say, Malik, perform sales by CT. Perform sales by, let me see which other variables I have here. Perform current sales by segments. Let's say segments. Okay, perform current sales by segments. How do I do it? I'll first ask myself, which one is the categorical, which one is the quantitative? Now, whenever I see sigma sign in front of this letter E here is known as sigma. Whenever I see this sign in front of a colon,